This is Vegyn, the secret producer behind some of Frank Ocean's best work, and today we're gonna uncover his production techniques. But there's one problem. To work that closely with Frank, you have to be some kind of musical genius. And how can we replicate that? Well, it's not as hard as you think. I'm gonna show you how to apply them to your production, starting with these two secret methods that are a cheat code for bringing nostalgia to your beats.
Wrong side of average.
As you heard, underneath the lead vocal is this distorted, off-time one that sounds like it's been taken from an old radio recording. Here's how you can do it. First, you need some chords, and then you want to find or record a vocal. Now, we want it to be off-time. You could drag it off-grid, use an unsynced delay, or in our case, I threw it in Serum 2's granular synth. It plays the grains at different times, making the vocal feel like a distant memory. The only issue is, it's too ambient. So I processed it with a guitar amp, tape effect, shaper box, and delay. Using this trick to almost fabricate nostalgia into your production is a surefire way to make listeners connect with it way more. Nostalgia is scientifically proven to make people feel good, and that's why Frank incorporates it into his music. So keeping that in mind, for our next technique, I'm going to show you how Vegyn takes things even further.
Did I almost back on with that almost?
Essentially, you add in small excerpts of melodies to make the listener feel nostalgic. Start by adding in layers, making sure to use a variety of sounds. Now, most of us would do this and move on, but not Vegyn. He bounces them all to audio because next is where this technique really comes to life. Chop tiny sections of each melody and place them spaced out throughout the loop. But why do this instead of keeping the original melodies? Well, nostalgia comes to you in short bursts. For example, you could be walking down the street and smell a food that takes you back to your childhood. It's here and then it's gone. So using small fragments of melodies is the best way to emulate that feeling. Now, Frank's music shows that texture is crucial to making your beats stand out. And if you want over 1,000 sounds to make your production stand out, then check out the Ultimate Texture Bundle. You get one-shots, analog lab presets, accents, phrases, and more. It's already crazy good value, but I'm giving you guys an extra 20% off using this code. Hit the link below to take your textures to the next level. Now, this use of nostalgia isn't the only thing that makes Vegyn and Frank's production so special. The way they use drums is unlike anything I've ever heard before. And there are two things in particular that every producer should take from them. First, grab a hi-hat with a bit of a tail to it. Then click in a pattern, keeping somewhat of a two-step rhythm. This is important for later on. After that, start adding in glide notes. It's a super easy way to bring a glitchy texture to your drums. At this point, I'd usually move on to the kick, snare, and other things. But Vegyn does something else. Essentially, with syncopation, you emphasize notes that disrupt the regular rhythm of the song. But why would we do that? It's going to ruin the bounce. Well, not if you do it exactly like Vegyn. First, grab a percussive sound and click in a stuttered pattern. From there, find a hi-hat, reverse it, and do the same thing again. And last but not least, turn them down. It's important for the two-step hats to still be front and center to make the beat feel smooth. The syncopated notes play more subtly in the background, adding a depth of texture and bounce. For our fourth technique, we need to start a new track, this time taking something from Frank and Vegyn's biggest song.
Round your city, round the clock. Everybody needs you.
I've still, to this day, never heard a guitar like that. It's one of a kind. But that's not just because of the chords or the way it's played, it's down to a technique called multi-processing. Now first, you need a progression. Sounds good. But the next step is where the real magic happens. Essentially, each chord is processed differently and then glued back together. This is what gives Nights a disjointed feeling. To achieve that ourselves, we need an effects chain, so I added some tape, room reverb, heavy compression, and bounced it to audio. From there, you want to repeat this process for the amount of chords you have. Finally, chop up the progressions, piece them together, and glue them with a compressor. Next, we need some drums. Now, Vegyn's main trick is what I showed you earlier, but sometimes that process can be a bit long. Here's a super quick way to get a similar effect. First, we have my original drum loop. It's okay, but nothing special. So what I did was make sure everything was muted except from the drums, and I added this free plugin to my master. It's a pitch shifter, but with a grains knob. So when you pitch it up in particular, it has this nice glitchy texture. All I did was record that and layer it underneath the original drums. After that, I added in some vocals, bass, and guitar to finish off our A section. Now, in a lot of the songs on Endless, Vegyn's instrumentals have a switch up. To emulate that melodically, I used the guitar, as well as a bass, distorted pad, and lead, all from my Ultimate Texture bundle, as well as some more vocals to help transition everything.